In this video, I want to go ahead and cover the basics of the Friends interface, just so you can kind of get a rough idea on working your way through it. And to do that, it is in a very similar manner to the the session interface. But in this case, what we're going to be doing is actually getting our friends list. And this should contain all of our friends from both Steam and Epic. Now, one thing I have noticed when getting friends from the Epic is that they basically almost have to have the same, I guess you could say, game as you. So for example, when I was playing with a friend and we had our own project up, let me rephrase that. When I had a different variation of the project up and I had started doing all this kind of stuff, I could not see him listed, just like I could not see any of my friends listed when I would bring up the Epic overlay. But once he actually had the updated project and all that kind of stuff with it all going and he launched the project, then I could actually see him and send invites and all that kind of stuff. So that is one thing to keep in mind. But anyways, it does list from both the Epic and Steam. So to begin, what we're going to do is create another blueprint callable function, and we're going to call it view, or let's say list or find friends, or get all friends. And we're going to go ahead and create that definition and do everything in the same manner. So we're going to check if we're logged in and if the online subsystem is valid. Then what we want to do is let's go ahead and get the type, so online subsystem, and search for friends. So friends interface. So that uses the type online friends pointer. So online friends pointer. I'm going to call that friends pointer to keep the naming consistent. From here, we actually have to do some other things. So friends pointer, and if we search for friend, we can find basically a lot of stuff. So we have, read friends list, update friends settings, not really sure what all that entails. But basically, what we want to do is read friends list. So we have get friends list, and we have read friends list. Now, these actually do a couple different things. I'm actually going to bring up the documentation, and hopefully that'll explain a little bit better than I can. But basically what you have to do first is you have to initiate a read to then get your friends list. So here you can see read friends list starts an async task that reads the named friends list for the player. Then get friends list copies the list of friends for the player previously retrieved from the online service. So basically from what happens when you call read friends list. Actually, that didn't sound like too bad of an explanation, so we're just going to run with it. So let's start with the read friends. Now, as you can see, that also included a header for me, and that is going to be interfaces, online friends interface. I'm going to move that right up here just to keep it nice and clean. And I guess we don't really need the gameplay statics anymore. And let's head back. So starting with parameters, takes in the local user number. That's going to be 0 for us. Then the f string, the list name. So doesn't really matter. So f string is going to be an empty string. And then the delegate of which we need to bind it to. So that's going to be f on read friends list complete bind u object this, and then we have to pass in the function name. So we're going to control click to f on read friends list complete just so we can see the parameters. So here we have the int32, so the local user number was successful, the list name, and then an error string. So that kind of sums up what we want. So, well, as you can see here, the params. So int32, boolean, f string, and f string. So let's copy these and create them in our new function. So void on find or on get all friends complete, and then paste them in for the parameters. Then we just got to remove the comments like so, and we are good to go. So let's create that definition, and then we're going to add this function, or the address of this function, as our second parameter, like so. So what's it complaining about? Oops. Back. Come on. Not type void to... Okay, did I miss something about this? The delegate. Okay. Hang on, someone's talking in the background. That's one of the benefits of having, or one of the downsides of having a shotgun microphone for recording. It does pretty well. Unfortunately, I'm out in a room where there's a lot of flat surfaces that are hard, and everything reflects off of everything. Alright, so just to confirm, that is all looking correct. That is the delegate. Not entirely sure why it is complaining. Right. That's when we go to Google. Alrighty, so that's one of the dangers of autocomplete, I guess. But anyways, I'm using bind uObject. What I mean to use is add uObject. So that was my mistake. So we switch it to not add. What is it? Let's get okay. So it's create uObject in this case. And there we go. So we just pass in the address of on get all friends list complete, and it'll fire. So now that we have this set up, we want to determine whether or not it was actually successful. So first thing is if B was successful, then we can go ahead and actually just print out a log. Was successful at getting friends list. And same thing goes, we're going to want to unbind this. So we're going to, again, grab all of this info. And we are going to unbind it. So friends pointer, search for read. Here we have clear. Let's try to find it. Clear on read. Unless we do not have one of those. Search for read. Read friends list, but we do not have a clear on read. Let's see, what is this? Alright, so I guess there's no actual clear for this. So one thing I do know that might, I don't even know if this would be the cause of it, but I guess this is an area where we'd have to bind it somewhere else, unless just binding it in the function itself is why it allows us to do it in this manner. But basically, with read friends list, every time you call this, it will update. So let's say, for example, you call this at the start of the game, and then somewhere along the middle of the game, someone deletes you as a friend. Well, if you just keep calling get friends list, you're still going to see them as a friend. But if you call reads friends list again after they've removed you, and then call get friends list, then it will actually show that he is no longer, or basically he's not going to appear because it has updated the list. So every time you want to update your friends list, or if anything changes, you want to make sure you call read friends list first. So anyways, let's go ahead and make sure that this actually prints out. So we're going to go ahead and compile. And actually, I just realized we got to bind up a button to call get all friends. All right, so back in the editor, same thing as with destroy session and create session. Let's create a new one and call it b underscore get all friends. Same thing here, get all friends. And we just got to bind the button up. We get our EOS game instance, and we call get all friends like so. Compile and save, and we're good to go. So let's go ahead and close this down and check it out. Go ahead and launch the game. Make sure we're logging on, which again, I'm going to have to end up stating this in every video. We're using the dev-auth tool. So here we have it. Let's go ahead and call get all friends. Was successful at getting friends list. So we know that we're good to go. So we are in fact able to get our friends list, and now we can call get all friends. So get our friends pointer. And what was it? Get friends list. Okay, so that takes in the local user number, the list name, and then it outputs to an array of t-shared ref of the type f online friend. So we're going to do, let's see, what is the boolean? Not sure what the boolean's for, but we're going to call it get friends list. Pass in 0, which is for us. Then we can pass in the list name right here. So list name. Then it's going to show us, there we go. We have a T array of T shared ref of F online friends. So T array of T shared ref of the type F online friend. Then we have online friends. Or let's just call it friends list. We're going to paste that in as the next parameter, and I'm a little curious as to what the boolean is for. Does it say? Okay, returns true if friends list was found. All right, so we can wrap this up. So if this is the case, what we want to do is iterate over our friends list. So in which case, I want to have an else. One of the new updates with Writer, not the biggest fan, but failed get friends list. All right, now let's iterate over this guy. So we're gonna do a for loop. Well, I guess technically for each using the whatever. So of the type T shared ref F online friend. And let's just call this one friend in friends list. So from here, search for friend. I believe that is a smart pointer, is it not? So returns a reference to the object. This shared reference is referencing. So let's get it. And we can have get whatever that is and the invite status. Get the display name, get real name, and a couple other things. So if we view F online friend, we should kind of be able to see roughly what all it entails. Okay, so that inherits from F online user, so my guess is we're not going to see much. Okay, so we have get real name, so get the real name for the user if known, get the nickname of the user if known, so platform, I guess this is where you would put in like a Steam, for example. So I'm assuming get real name may take care of this for us. So we're going to try get real name first. So dot get real name and f string. Now let's call it friend name. And we want to print this out. So UE log temp warning text friend %s dereference to friend, or not dereference, but we're going to pass in friend name, and hopefully this will iterate over all of them and print it out. So let's go ahead and build, and then we'll move over and give it a test. So let's go ahead and launch. Alrighty, it's got everything loaded, logged in. Let's call get friends list, or get all friends. So we click it, and there we go. So as you can see here, it iterated over all of my friends, and golly, I'm kind of scared to look over some of these names. Don't read too close, but as you can see, we're able to iterate through all of our friends. And we now have, well, I don't know how else to explain it. We're looking over our friends. Simple as that. And then we can close it out. So that is one way to take care of it. And I guess we really don't need the else. We know that it's working and we're good to go. So we now have our way to iterate over our friends list. So you can do whatever you want with this. If you want to have, some form of custom option for it and all that kind of stuff, you can actually kind of fill it out however you need. So anyways, that is going to be all for this video. If you like what I'm doing and you want to help support me, you can find a link to my Patreon in the description below, where I have a Team Deathmatch series just for Patrons, as well as you get early access to pretty much all of my videos, such as this one. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to join my Discord that's also linked down below, and I or someone else will be able to help you out. So I'll see you in the next video.